For Olympus Elite, the raid, when you come in here as a gadgets controller, there are NPCs that have some have no breakout profiles and some will break out really late. Like this gold statue, this NPC actually breaks out anywhere within, most of the time it's 6 seconds, maybe 8, but again most of the time it's 6. So your control effects, of course, will land on them. You'll be able to control them for 6 seconds. As far as their immunity goes, it's very short. They'll gain immunity for less than like a second, and maybe even less than that. In some cases, you can control them right after they break out. So as far as their control effects and their profile, easy to control. There's also NPCs like the colossal statue and the soldiers. Those have no breakout profile. You can control them for a long period of time and they won't break out, so you're stunned like Gauss Grenade. Of course will work. Same with Sticky Bomb. If you're using Paralyzing Dart, that'll work great too, because you'll stun 8 of them. Remember, Gauss will stun 2 and Sticky Bomb will stun 8 if they're all within its AoE on the first target that you toss it on. There are other NPCs that will break out, and they usually will break out within the 6-second window or the 8-second window. When they do break out, there is a few that it's one of the female NPCs here. They will actually stay immune for quite some time, maybe like 3-4 seconds. If they are immune due to a counter from either being, you lunge them and then of course they're blocking and then you of course give them a blue immunity, those types of combat counters, it's a different story. They will stay immune for a little bit of time, not too long, but yeah, the Mender right there that you just saw, that's one of the NPCs that breaks out. All these other ones, again, as far as controlling them, if your tank is like in the back and you know they're doing something and you're trying to go forward, you can lunge in there, drop the decoy, throw a stun. Again, know which NPCs you can control for long periods of time because they don't break out, and then you could just have the DPS burn them all, and then by the time the tank gets there, you're already at the first boss. On the first boss fight with Athena, a few things. One is you're pretty much all going to be in one quadrant unless you're doing something else like a feat. So while you guys are all grouped up together and you're fighting this boss, there's something that I want you to keep in mind. These cages that go up, if you start your count, you know, count down, count up, whatever, from as soon as you see them pop up, in 10 seconds they'll go back down. So this is why I mention that, because in those 10 seconds, let's say there's like maybe, I don't know, 2-3 ads on the other side of that quadrant trapped within that cage. When that cage comes down, you're counting in your head as to when it's going to come down. So then the tank is obviously going to grab them, and if the tank is having difficulty or those ads are attacking the group because they just happen to lunge, those healers can go into a spam fest. So as they go into a spam fest, you can either drop your supply drop 1 second after they've gone down or on the 10th second. So depending on where you're standing, because that's the other thing too, if you're standing off a little bit off to the side away from the healers, you drop your supply drop maybe on the 10th second, maybe even on the 9th, and then you tell them to go ahead and spam like crazy to keep everybody up. Now once they've finished spamming and the tank has grabbed all the ads, you tell them go into that supply drop, and of course they get their power restored. Now again, in terms of you deciding when to drop it, that's all on you. It depends literally on how many NPCs there are. You could also immediately drop it right on the group 2 or 3 seconds after that cage has gone down. The other thing too is you could also use that to kind of like work with your other group members as to who has a supply drop ready to drop it once that cage has gone down. So that's really one of the things you could take advantage of when it comes time to use the supply drop and those cages. Aside from that, there's a Mender. The Mender will heal Athena by a lot. So you could apply the healing debuff on Athena, not the Mender, and then just have everybody DPS the Mender. Make sure you put on a defense debuff, again defense, on the Mender so that you guys can dispatch it quickly. On the second boss fight, keep a distance between yourself and that boss, because if you get too close, she'll do a fist slam which can knock you out, especially if you have a low CR. Now there's a highlighted circle in this map. Once that circle has gone to my Toon's right side, the circle that's not highlighted directly again on his right, ads will spawn, and if you happen to be in the area that those ads would happen to just appear, pop your decoy that will taunt them and stun them briefly and buy the tank some time to go and pull them. Now here you're going to see a switch. That switch of course will reduce the defense on this boss. Now these circles that are going around the room, depending on the circle phase, this boss is going to buff. And when the boss buffs, the defense is up. You hitting that switch will reduce their defense. They'll reduce in size, and then you can just continue. That's all you really have to do here. There's nothing else that's pretty fancy. You just throw a defense debuff. Sometimes ally NPCs and their ally NPCs, they'll get in your way, so you have to move to a spot where they're not going to be blocking you. If they are blocking you, defense debuff will not show up.
You vex me. Very well. Take the elixir and leave me to my work.
Since I did a video guide on this boss fight already, in terms of the DPS side, it's basically the same thing, except for you as a controller. If there's nobody taunting that bird, or if the bird is being really difficult for players to taunt and to take to the south or north, this is what you gotta do, or what you can do. You lock onto Zeus with L1 on the controller. I don't know what it is for PC. Once you've locked onto Zeus, that's all you really need to do in terms of just keeping an eye on him. As a matter of fact, you don't really need to keep an eye on him. By you locking onto him, you'll be able to know whether or not the defense debuff is up, and you'll see a skull attack icon appear on his right side. If it does appear on his right side, drink an elixir if you don't know which direction he's looking. Now, once you've locked on to Zeus and you're attacking him with your weapon combos and you're looking at the defense debuff to whether he has it, you can then move your eyes, not your eyes, but you can maneuver the camera to look at that bird. And if that bird is up in the sky, you'll be able to see when he's about to do a dive bomb attack. He'll turn around and look at someone, and then he'll just come down. And if he does that, you can just roll out of the way or block. Ideally, you block and roll out of the way, but don't stay there. That's one trick that you could use with that bird. The other thing is you can also, while keeping your stuff locked onto Zeus, or if you want to be really ballsy, you don't really have to do that. If there's communication, that's a lot easier, or if you're just able to look at everything at once, which you should be able to do if you've ran this raid a bunch of times already. What you'll do is you'll keep your eyes out, not only on that bird, to make sure you don't get knocked out from its dive attack. You'll also keep an eye out on these pools. Remember that you as a controller, you have strong shields. So you and the healers can work together to remove the charges from these pools. If there is a... Actually, let me just say this before I continue on with the shields. If you get transformed into a bird, immediately look for the golden apples either on the east or the west side of this room. You go to them, you consume it, and you're transformed back to normal. You cannot give power while you are in bird form. Let people know that you're in bird form so they can drink sodas and all that. Find the apple, consume it, then you're back to normal. Now in terms of the shield, if you get charged by Zeus's vexation, he'll look at you, he'll take his staff, he'll channel it on you. Once he channels that thing on you, you'll have a damage over time. The damage over time will knock you out eventually, especially if you're stressing the healers, so you don't want to stay with it. Go to a pool, okay, and then you just hold block. You'll see the energy transfer from your character to that rod. Once it's charged, roll out of the way. Then take your distract, pop distract and defibrillator, or just pop distract and jump, and go into that pool, block. You'll remove the damage, because what's going to happen is that charge will explode and your distract shield will mitigate some of that damage. So then, of course, you've cleansed it. Then you get out of the way, let people know that's already clear. The other thing that you could use too in terms of shielding is neural neutralizer or stealth. I've used neural neutralizer before. This is the thing you have to know about that. It costs a lot of power. It does. And if you're running with a group that's using a lot of power, especially the healers that are not, power efficient, you're not going to be able to get away with using it. So if you do have nature healers or really power efficient players, you can use both neural neutralizer that has a 10-second cooldown, 9 seconds if you're wearing the accelerated mod, and you can use distract. And what you'll do there is now you go to these rods and you'll basically be a one-man team. You could take either one side or the whole room by yourself. The only thing that's going to really probably be a factor is the distance from one end completely on the opposite side, diagonally from the other. So you can use neural neutralizer, go in there, remove the shield, same with distract, pop distract on the next one. Neural neutralizer should be ready by the time you get across the room to get the others. But that's in one of those scenarios where everybody's knocked out and you only have one healer, one troll, one tank, one DPS, whatever, if you're just in a group that's struggling. Other than that, you could really get away with using stealth. Stealth has no power cost. The only downside is it's 30 seconds. But again, you could get away with using distract by itself too, and if you're able to do that, then stealth is really no issue. Just remember that stealth shield will only stay up for 2.5 seconds, and the damage cap is 10,000. So if you're gonna use stealth, make sure that you're really close to the pool, then pop it. Don't pop it while there's some distance there, because otherwise it's not gonna make it. Distract will, because it's 5 seconds, but stealth will not. Make sure you're wearing the home turf hand mod. Improve stealth, because that is what will grant that stealth power, that shield. As far as everything else, there are some bugs where if you roll into the pool, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but if you roll into the pool, you may not register the energy transfer, and you may not be able to remove it. So if that's the case, what you have to do is you either have to go to another pool to remove your charge, or just let a healer know that you can't remove the charge, and they'll go over and they'll remove it for you.